Moving into the lymphatics and the immunity aspect of the human body, we need to look at what the lymphatic system is and how it works. Now, the lymphatic system itself has three main components, or three main parts. You're going to have, first of all, your network of lymphatic vessels. These are going to run from head to foot. And just like our blood vessels, there'll be large and small vessels of lymphatic system as well. You're going to have your lymph. Now, the lymph itself is going to be a fluid. That's what's flowing through the lymphatic vessels. Now, this lymph is going to be important because of what it contains and how it comes to be. Because your lymphatic vessels are one way. They're not a full circuit like the blood vessels, which means we have to get this fluid, this lymph, from somewhere. And then the last thing you have is these lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are going to be scattered throughout the body, but there are areas of higher concentration that we'll have to look into a little bit. So, three main pieces or parts of the lymphatic system. So, what's the functionality behind this? Well, there's more than one function, but one to look at is looking at the fluid called lymph, how it's collecting the leaked fluid and then converting it into your lymph. Now, this leaked fluid, it's being leaked out of your blood vessels. It's being leaked out of your cells. Because while you don't try to lose fluid this way, there is still that aspect of some permeability, that semi-permeability, which means fluid can leak out of the blood vessels, especially capillaries, and fluid can leak out of the cells a little bit as well. The lymphatic system is going to take that leaked fluid, pick it up, and then work on returning it back into the blood flow, which means you're trying to collect the lost fluid and return it back into circulation. So this lymph, these lymph organs, they're also making up the basis of your immune system. Because there are the things like your thymus in here, your spleen, the lymph nodes. These are all going to help a little bit with the immune functionality of your body. And by immune functionality, I'm talking about fighting off foreign pathogens, whether it be bacteria, viruses, or whatever else there is coming at you. Your lymphatic system can help to get rid of those foreign pathogens, things that you don't want in your body. So looking here, you can see the basic idea of where the lymphatic system is. You'll notice that from head to foot, well, you can't really see the feet, but from head to knees at least, you can see there's plenty of lymphatic vessels. They're all there going from head to foot. The idea is they're running in similar areas, similar aspects to how your blood vessels run. So a lot of times you'll have an artery and a vein and then a lymphatic vessel right next to it. They're flowing in the same locations, the same areas. But the purpose of these lymphatic vessels are all bringing the lymph up back to the circulatory system. And I'll bring it back up, just up superiorly to the heart. You'll also notice there's this lymph node down here. We'll get more into those later. But you can see how the lymph node is this kind of enlarged area. It allows the lymph fluid to come in and then go back out. The key thing is, what's inside that lymph node? The cells there can help to fight off foreign particles. So we'll have to deal with those later on. So I mentioned already, these lymphatic vessels are one way. They pick fluid up and just bring it up towards where they dump it back into the circulatory system, back up just superiorly to your heart. Now you're going to have these capillaries, which are the smallest of the lymphatic vessels. These lymph capillaries pretty much are pretty similar to the blood vessel capillaries, but there are some differences. You're going to have these collecting vessels. Think as you get bigger. So you have these lymphatic capillaries merging together. They're turning into these collecting vessels. And then those collecting vessels, they merge together further into the trunks and ducts. Those are the largest of the lymphatic vessels coming up and getting ready to dump back into the circulatory system. So we have this kind of building system. It keeps merging and merging from the smallest up into the largest until you finally return the fluid. So I mentioned those lymphatic capillaries are similar to blood vessel capillaries. But there are some differences. One of the key differences, they are very permeable. So these lymphatic or lymph capillaries are very permeable when you compare them to the blood vessels. Well, if you're thinking, hold on, there's 3 different types of blood vessels. One actually has these large openings. Well, yeah, you've got fenestrations and things there. But even with all that, these lymphatic capillaries, on average, are more permeable, allowing anything to come in that's around it. So you're picking up cell debris. That's good, clean things up. You're picking up pathogens. Also good, get rid of those foreign particles. Help to bring them into some place where you can destroy them. But there can also be side effects, things that you might not want to pick up necessarily. For example, cancer cells. So these lymphatic vessels can pick up cancer cells, saying, hey, great, get rid of them. The only problem is your body can't always get rid of cancerous cells. So now this is a way of transporting them from point A to every place else in your body, allowing those cells to be dispersed. So which in the case of cancer cells isn't a great thing. So we've got mostly good, but there could be that potential problem there if cancerous cells are found. The endothelial cells, so think about kind of the wrappings of these things. These lymphatic capillaries have endothelial cells that are going to form mini valves and the cells overlap. This is a twofold aspect. Remember back to the veins. So go back into the cardiovascular system. The veins had valves. Remember they're one-way freners. So blood goes one way and then it can't come back to the valve. So it flows up to the heart but can't go back down because the valve blocks it. Same idea here. The lymph is going to flow towards the heart. The mini valves prevent it from going backwards. Second thing I mentioned, the cells overlap. Think about roofing shingles. You know, they kind of overlap. That way the rain runs down and doesn't get below them. Same idea with the lymph. You're going to have these overlapping. So as a lymph runs through, it makes sure that it runs past and doesn't just sneak its way back out again. So you have these overlapping endothelial cells to help prevent the fluid that was picked up, the lymph, from leaking back out again. And they're held in place by all these collagen filaments. Remember back to AP1, collagen nice and strong. The idea is anchoring these in place, making sure these capillaries are going to stay where they should be and prevent them from collapsing. Because since this is a one-way system, it's not a high-pressure system. So we're looking at very low pressure. Low pressure means the capillaries could collapse if they're not held open by these collagen fibers. So looking at here, this diagram, you can see there's an entire capillary bed from the blood vessels here, but notice the green kind of weaving in there. That green, those are the lymphatic capillaries. So more often than not, the lymphatic capillaries will be woven right into the blood vessel capillaries. And you can see here is going to be where those mini valves are. In this case, the arrow is showing that it's opened, but once that lymph stops flowing, the valves can close back up. Secondly, those little flaps, you can see right here. The cells are close, they have just a little bit of an overlap, making sure that the lymph is flowing in and not getting back out. So it allows them to be highly permeable to bring solutions in and bring items in, but not go back out. Now these lymphatic capillaries are found almost everywhere, as I mentioned. There are some exceptions. Not in your bones, not in your bone marrow. Well, why would that be making sense? Think about it. In your bones and your bone marrow, that's where you're making the red blood cells. Do you want all that to be simply shuttled into the lymphatic system? No. So therefore, they're not present here, so they don't pick up all those blood vessels, all those blood cells. It's also teeth, cornea, central nervous system, areas that are very specialized as far as blood flow, as far as structural components. All right, but we do have one other area that still has capillaries, but they're specialized capillaries called lacteals. Now, these lacteals are found inside of the GI tract, specifically the intestines, the small intestines. As you start looking in the small intestines, and some of the large intestines as well, but in the intestines, they're one way that basically are inside this villi, so kind of this structure inside of the intestines. So we'll come back to these again when we get into the digestive system, but for now, know there's this specialized structure inside of the actual GI tract. The purpose here is to help with the absorption of fat or lipids, because lipids aren't going to really mix very well with water. What's your blood mostly? Water. So therefore, instead of the fats or lipids going into your bloodstream right away, they're pulled into these lacteals, and then they're transported to lymphatic vessels before they get dumped back into the blood. So it kind of helps the processing kind of compartmentalize a little bit. So looking at a lacteal here, this green structure is lacteal. The whole overall structure is going to be kind of a villi, a fold in the intestines. It's meant to help increase surface area. But these lacteals are one-way valves. They only allow the flow to head down out of lacteal. So basically you can absorb the fluid, absorb the lipids there, flows down to the main area, and then heads on out. So a little bit about starting in the structurality of the lymphatic system. Now there's definitely more parts and pieces, but this is just the start point and things to kind of get going from this point on.